Today I'm at St Mary's Church here in Oakley, and I'm here to meet Graham Palmer, the church warden, who's going to talk to us about the newly restored church clock mechanism. So come on, let's go meet him. Well, hi Graham, tell us a little bit about what's been going on here.
Well, right, we've had a clock here since 1620, and it's had various work done on it, obviously, over the years, but it got to a state about 4 years ago where it had essentially stopped. And so the church made quite a bold decision to have it fully restored with a new winding mechanism. Now, we knew this wouldn't be cheap, and it's not easy to do because you need a very expert horologist. There's few in the country. We had the guy down here who had a look at it who did Big Ben. We had various other people who came down, but we selected Mr. Graham Newman, who's a very expert horologist, and he came out and he gave us a quote which we accepted and gave him the go ahead to do the work. In doing the work and getting permission, we had to get permission from the central church. Okay. And that's where complications come in. A lot of people get involved, like English Heritage, Historic Churches Trust, etc., etc. But eventually we got there and we got permission to go ahead. And so we commissioned Graham Newman to start in March last year, 2022. I nearly said 1922 there. And we eventually got it delivered by the end of August last year, 2022. So today we'll go and have a look at the mechanism, what was done, which is two parts really: a new electric winding mechanism plus the old mechanism for the clock, which is a single-handed clock. And we'll have a look at that.
Well, I guess, it's time to go and have a look.
Let's go and have a look.
Okay.
Cheers.
Well, Graham, on a scale of 1 to 10, that's quite a scary climb for me.
Okay.
But you're quite used to it.
Well, we are. Yeah, I've not gone up quite so much since I've had a hip operation, but I am reconnecting with the bell tower.
So where are we now?
We're on the first level of the actual clock mechanism. You can see, right, if you look up here above me, you can see the winding mechanism.
Yep.
And above it is a mezzanine which contains the actual clock mechanism itself.
Okay.
This is the actual pendulum, and that big round thing you can see there is a lump of lead.
Okay.
And that controls whether the clock runs fast or slow.
Okay.
And you probably can just see, if I point around here, at the bottom of it there is a screw, a wing nut. So you can wind it up, which makes it go faster. Lower it, it goes slower. We won't go into the physics of simple harmonic motion, but that's what we're talking about.
Excellent.
So it's quite a heavy pendulum, actually, that big lead ball there. And it's key to making the thing. And we've been retuning it now for about 6 months, trying to get it runs fast and slow.
Okay. Okay, so we've got the next stage to go up to.
We have, and we'll go up the mezzanine, which is behind you, this ladder, and we'll look at the clock mechanism.
Okay, so before we go up, Graham, you said there was another part of the mechanism you wanted to explain further.
You can see the winding mechanism. There's two sets of weights there.
Okay.
One is for the actual clock mechanism itself, to make it tick, and the other is for the striking mechanism. Now the one on the right is the actual striking mechanism, and as it strikes, that will lowers itself fairly quickly. And the box, you can see the electric box there, that controls it all.
Okay.
Down here on the floor, right,
Yeah.
is the old winding mechanism,
Okay.
which was put in about 50 years ago, and very crude, and it probably did more damage in 50 years than the previous 350, because it basically overloaded the actual mechanism, so that's wore out the bushes, the bearings in the clock, which when we go and look at it, you will see is not a Swiss mechanism. This thing was installed probably by a carpenter, certainly for the wooden frame, and it could have even been a blacksmith. I'm sure it weren't an expert locksmith, because it's quite a crude mechanism, but it has worked now since 1620. It's something we're all proud of. It is rated the 57th most important antiquated clock in the country.
Wow.
By I've got to actually rehearse this one, the Antiquarian Horological Society's list of clocks.
Well done.
Big Ben is one, of course. It may be even two Big Ben. I think the Salisbury clock is maybe one.
Okay.
I'm not certain. But this is certainly rated number 57.
Excellent.
So we'll go and have a look up these steps, and we'll go and look at the actual mechanism itself. Well, the ladder is certainly not 1620. It's more recent than that. The old rungs have seen a lot of feet go up it, and we've had to repair that.
Well, I noticed the ladder on the way up is very polished, which gives it an indication of being quite old.
Extremely old.
Yeah.
We're not quite certain now, but probably over 200 years old.
Yeah.
And looking down here on the floor, you can see a trapdoor.
Yeah.
And when they brought the clock up and they took it away, and they had to put a mini hoist in here to lower it down.
Okay.
So it's quite heavy.
Well, up you go.
Up we go. Right, well, just a little comment on the actual wooden frame. Most of the wood is original, so we're talking oak that dates back over 400 years old when it was installed. So the oak itself would, I guess, could be 600-700 years old, some of it. But you can actually see down here that, although it's a bit worn, it was all taken back to the workshop. This entire frame went back with all the mechanism. So everything here, this was just bare boards when we were having it restored. And, you know, they brought it all back. And I think it's a testament to the skill of this horologist that they can actually get it all to fit back together. Absolutely. And work again. And hopefully, it will be another 100 years before it needs another restoration. Can I just say, one of the things I had to fix was all these, what they call bushes, so it had to be rebushed so that everything is a nice snug fit in the bearings, and long may it stay running. Some of these teeth on these had to be recut, and only one of these wheels had to be replaced, and that is the one you can hear clicking away there, because you know they've been clicking away there for hundreds of years, so it's not surprising that it did actually wear out. Now it's just priming itself to actually strike two.
Okay.
and you saw that, and when it goes, this will whirl round. If I come this side, and what it basically does, it pulls a piece of cable which goes all the way up to the bells, and a hammer will come up which we'll look at and goes bong, and we'll hear it go bong bong for 2 o'clock.
Okay.
These capstans that you can see is the original winding mechanism, and where we've got the chains on now that actually go to the auto winding mechanism, they used to be wrapped around there, and somebody had to climb up here a couple of times a week and wind it up by hand.
Okay.
Like a ship's capstan.
Yeah.
Now, there are people still who insist that they would like to see the clock put back to how it was originally. But realistically, to get somebody to actually climb up here twice a week and wind it up is
not,
let me say,
not
a
practical,
non-starter.
really. No.
So we've had a winding mechanism for the last 50 years. As I previously said, the old one caused a lot of damage. Where you can see these bearings, and we have a thing down here that's clicking, is called the escape mechanism.
Yep.
What that does, it doesn't allow the thing to, if that weren't there, the thing would just run itself down. So that's not clicking every second, it's somewhere around a second. Anyway, we're preparing to strike 2, and we'll wait and watch the mechanism go. There it goes. And there you have it, Ray.
Very impressive.
We're a minute and a half slow, which for something that was installed in 1620 is not too bad. I will get Bill, who looks after the clock, to give it a slight adjustment tonight when he practices with the bells.
So we're now going up to the bell.
We're going up to where the actual bells reside, which is the next level up.
Okay.
And we'll have a look at the hammer, and we'll see it striking.
You might have to talk me down.
So when you come up more in this one, then.
Yeah. So Graham, we're now right up in the bell tower itself.
We are indeed, right.
What are we looking at down here?
What we've actually got is 6 bells in here.
Okay.
Not all installed at the same time. There was one put in at the millennium. But this is the real powerful beast.
Okay.
And that is what the clock rings off.
What sort of date would you put on that?
We can look when we go downstairs. I think some of them are actually 18th century.
Okay.
I'm trying to look for most of them were cast in London. 1952, this one.
Okay.
I don't want to actually ring one.
Basically, that's the one that's striking that we hear.
This is the one that. So
Is
if
in-
I just raise this is what it sounds like, which is very loud.
That's pretty impressive.
And that is the one that when the clock strikes, and that can strike obviously up to 12 times.
Yeah.
From midnight to midday. Okay. When that actually strikes, it's a cable that runs all the way down to the clock mechanism, and it's just wound up and it's pulled, and each time that strikes this one. So we'll do it one more time. So you can imagine the cables coming up. That was probably the only clock round here for years, and that would have been the signal to all the farmers. Maybe to stop for lunch. I don't know whether they were allowed to stop for lunch years ago, but I'm sure they did. Yeah, it's a very ancient piece of kit, quite crude the way it operates, but it is functional. And I say it's been like that for hundreds of years, and long may it continue. Well, just a quick look at something to do with the bells, Ray. The ropes you can see here, obviously over a period of time they stretch and wear. And quite recently we had all these 6 ropes were taken away to a specialist and had all the ends renewed, and it's quite an expensive job actually. It's about £120 per rope, but so that was done. So we had a period where we couldn't actually ring, but Bill, our tower captain, he got them back so we could get the peel in for Easter, so that was excellent work. And bless their hearts, we've got the VAT back from the government because we're part of the listed places of worship scheme, which aims to give VAT back on these Grade 1 listed buildings for certain things, and maintenance of the bells is one of them. That is the winding mechanism for the striker. When that strikes 12, it literally runs down, not to the floor, but it comes down obviously a lot further than at 3 o'clock.
That's fascinating to see that.
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Graham.
Okay. That's the actual total cost of this before VAT was about £9,500, of which is about 50-50. We could have had the clock mechanism done and no new winding mechanism, but then it'd have worn out again. So we bit the bullet and went for another £4,800.
But what a legacy to leave.
Yeah.
Future generations to enjoy.
Exactly. I'm 75 now. I don't intend to get it repaired anymore.
Excellent. Well, we're nearly at the top. The only thing is, we've got to get down.
Well, the clock face is not that old because we've had it restored, but it's still got the single hand. It never did get a... People always say to me, your second hand's fallen off. Well, we never did have one. You have to estimate it. And famously, we used to have a guy that worked for the railways who was always claimed he was on time. He used to tell us it's 2 minutes fast or it's 2 minutes slow. We used to say, what are you expecting for something from 1620? So, yeah, it is a sort of indicator of time,
okay.
Not exactly time.
Excellent.